Okay, so I was thinking about talking a bit about you as a singer and your career as a metal vocalist, if that is all right with you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because firstly, I would just like to know, do you remember the first time you heard metal music and what was the music that you listened to first time?
Yeah, I did. When I was a young kid, my mom got me when she was very young. So I spent a lot of time with my grandma and my uncles and my aunts, but they were 12 years older than I was. So when
Mhm.
I grew up, they were in their teenage years, and they were also record collectors. So from early on, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was surrounded by metal music, and I remember when I first heard "The Keeper of the Seven Keys" Part Two,
Mhm.
and I was completely blown away. And Halloween instantly became my favorite band, and
Wow.
it has probably stayed that way until these days. I mean, like, I'm not one of these hardcore fans that are listening to the new stuff, but everything up till Pink Bubbles Go Ape is still something that I listen to, at least once a month.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
Mikael Kiske, or Michael Kiske, was one of my first role models.
Mm. Yeah, that's actually a very good band, and very often you don't even hear that name anymore. I think I haven't I haven't heard people talk about Halloween that much, or then I'm not just in the power metal scene, but that's very nice,
The, the, the
nice to see.
problem the problem is obviously that you realize that you're getting older.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I have turned 40 now,
Oh yeah.
and new metal bands that you usually
Mhm.
interview is probably nowadays between 2025. They're brand new, and they did not grow up with that kind of music.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah,
You
it
don't
is
hear
what
it.
it is.
Yeah. By the way, sorry if I seem to be looking there because I have the camera in front of me, but I have the screen where you are next to me. So I'm trying to, I'm torn whether I know I should have like eye contact or watch you as you speak, but it might look a bit weird. But yeah, when do you remember what was it in Halloween that caught your attention? Was it the fast tempo or the melodies to the heavy guitars or?
One of the things that I think first got me with Halloween, when I was like 5, 6 years old, whatever I could have been back then, was probably the artworks,
Oh yeah.
because the cartoon artworks, Dr. Steen and
Hmm.
um, the pumpkin thing. The
Yeah,
pumpkin
yeah, the
always did
pumpkin.
a lot of
Yes.
funny and crazy stuff, and I think that was one of the first thing that draw me into it. And then it was obviously the vocals and the
Mm.
high pitched. I had probably never heard anyone sing like that before. So
Mhm.
uh, but my uncles, they showed me everything. So all of a sudden it was Operation Mindcrime and Iron
Oh yeah,
Maiden and
that's right.
Judas
Yeah.
Priest and all these other bands. So yeah, I more or less got educated on metal at a really, really early age.
And those are all that you mentioned are very sort of almost, well, not necessarily operatic singers, but people who sing very highly, like Rob Halford and Geoff Tate from Queensryche. They're all.
Yeah.
Would you say that these all are your sort of idols when it comes to you becoming a vocalist, or did you have some other names that you maybe not?
I wouldn't say I
Yeah.
wouldn't say idols. I would say that these, like Geoff Tate, Michael
Mhm.
Kiske, Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson, uh, all these vocalists were raw models to
Mhm.
me when I started to sing myself. Absolutely, but my biggest hero back in the days when I grew up, that I really looked up to, was Joey Tempest, because I thought
Okay.
that Joey Tempest was the coolest frontman in the world when I was younger. Um, so yeah, I had a lot of guys to look up to, and try to mimic how they did their stuff.
Mhm.
But it's a different things with idols and role models, I think.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Did you have in Sweden any bands? I don't remember how it was back in the time when you were listening to Halloween, but did you have any of those metal bands then that you looked up to as your local influence? I don't remember if Hammerfall was out during that time, but
Yeah, Hammer. Yeah. Later on,
Mm,
when I like when I actually started to sing for real when I was 15, 16 years old, Joacim Cans
mm.
was actually the guy that
Okay, okay,
helped me to become what I am today.
okay, yeah.
Without his help, I would not sit here.
Wow.
So he was actually the one that took me under his wings, and he helped me produce my first demo. He helped to manage my band. He got me my first record deal. He let me sing on Hammerfall albums as a background vocalist. Without him, I would be nothing. So yeah, he was a big both idol and role model when I finally got into the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah.
There's different stages of your career. I mean, like you first
Mm-hmm.
started to talk about the when was the first time, and now we have trends.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
You
very
know, we have
long,
moved
long jump.
on. Yeah.
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
very long jump forward. But that's actually very nice to hear that he was a part of your journey as and you in a sense part of his journey because you know you're entangled together in that way.
yeah,
You
of
would
course,
say.
and he still is. I mean, like
Mm,
I still call him once in a while and like ask him for advice. So he's still there. But now it has actually become, you know, we've grown closer to each other. So now sometimes now he's actually the one calling me for
oh,
advice. So
right.
that's I can finally give something back
Mm.
sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have kind of your own learning journey, so definitely you can have something to give for even those who have been for a longer in this game, you would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so when you come from that, you know, starting to listen to all these new metal bands, do you remember some of your first bands and how were they back in the day when you started to join bands?
Oh yeah, I've told this story before, but it's a really funny story. So a friend of mine, he came to me. I don't remember how old I was. I was probably 15, 16 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
he said that he was searching for a vocalist for his metal band.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. I've been singing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't, but I convinced him that I should try out for his band, and we went to the rehearsal room and we were singing and playing, and we did some covers. I don't remember. I think the first thing that we did was like some old Kiss cover from the first Unmasked
Oh, okay, well,
album, War Machine. I think it was.
oh,
Maybe
that's a
that's
good
the
one.
wrong
Yeah.
album, but yeah. Um,
I think that's
and I
from
couldn't.
is that from
I
Destroyer or something?
yeah.
Not
I don't
Destroyer, this
remember.
yeah, but
Uh, I don't remember which album it is, but anyway,
yeah.
um, I really sucked. But luckily for me, the band sucked as well. And you know, back in the
Okay.
days, you were in like these tiny rooms, and you know, the
Oh yeah, yeah.
PA system that you got, you know, the only
Yeah, yeah.
thing that it was only loud.
Yeah.
So no one heard what anyone was doing. So they were just like happy, yeah, you're part of the team. And it was first after that that I realized that, oh, this was really funny. I need to learn how to sing.
Mm.
So after that, I was actually standing in that rehearsal room for hours and hours and hours every single day, and trying to sing along to all these albums that I was talking about before with my favorite singers, trying to mimic and try to understand how they did it.
Mm.
And it would probably have been way easier for me to go to someone that could teach me, but
Mm.
instead it took me probably 4 years to finally realize, oh, this is how you do it.
Did you
But
have any? Yeah.
it's a funny story nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. If always, because that's the first time you start with it, you know, it's never going to be perfect in the beginning. Never. It's always like hassle in the beginning. So when
Yeah.
you started that singing, do you remember, did you have any problems with your voice? Did you lose your voice or did you
Yeah,
try
yeah, all the
to...
time, all the
Okay.
time. I did all the wrong things that you
Yeah.
can do in the book. I could probably write my own book about how not to approach the singing.
Maybe you should. That would be, you know, beneficial probably
But here's the
for...
thing as well, because I got tons and tons of people approaching me that wants to take lessons from
Mhm.
me, and I always says no because I
Okay.
have no idea what it is that I'm doing. I am self-taught, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just do what I do. I can come with some advices, obviously, but when it comes to different techniques or what the names are or how you do it or how you achieve it,
Hmm.
I got no idea.
How
So
long did it take for you to finally find your voice? Not only that, but to find a way to safely sing and not to hurt your
that
voice.
yeah, I would guess that it probably took me 6, 7 years until I
Okay.
got into the control phase where I could sing for 2 hours and not destroy it, so to say,
Mm,
um, which is a probably pretty long time. Um, but I was training myself so much, and did not really understand what was needed from me to
mm,
sing. I was using the wrong parts of the body and when you're singing, when you're starting to get tired, you're losing the necessary muscles that you
mm,
need to keep up, to not be tired. And
mm.
as soon as you lose them, it takes 5 minutes and your voice is gone, when you start to use the wrong technique, or actually not using any technique at all.
Mm. How do you battle that these days? Do you have some routines that you do either for warm up or like winding off, or do you have some sort of routine that you do, drink some drink or something to keep your voice
I
going?
while on tour, I tend to be really careful with talking loud.
Okay.
I My warm up routine is to keep my voice in, like, you know,
Hmm.
talk a little bit slower and
Yeah.
lower, and like, just like that.
Yeah.
But I don't have a warm up routine. I've never warmed up in my whole life. That is what I do. I drink a lot of tea. I make sure that I'm warm. I am trying not to shift between temperatures, going inside and
Hmm.
outside,
Yeah.
and not in a draft and stuff like that. But I have a lot of singing friends, vocalists, that they are doing everything that they can. They're singing for 2 hours before the show, and they
Hmm.
sing for an hour after the show. And everyone has their own routine, and I would not say that there's a specific one that is the right one. I think that you just, as a singer, need to find what works and what is suitable for you.
Mm. Do you have any foods or drinks that you don't consume when you're on tour, just to
I don't
save your
I don't
voice?
eat meat. I'm a vegetarian these days,
Okay, so that's
and
easy.
and that is the I usually, on tour, back in the days, I usually always caught tonsillitis for some fucking
Okay,
reason. I
wow.
don't know why. But since I stopped eating meat, I haven't had it once.
Mm,
And I'm
interesting.
rarely sick. You can always catch a flu or whatever when
Yeah, but
you're in a tour bus. But changing my diet, to a more vegetarian diet, at least for me, it feels like I am healthier and less sick than I usually was back in the days.
okay, that's actually good to hear. You found your own thing to help you sing.
Yeah.
Now, looking back when you started to join bands and become a, how do you say, a bit more serious about your craft, how did your parents react, or were they around reacting to you, wanting to become this touring musician?
Back in the days, my parents were not supportive at all when it
Oh,
came
wow.
to
Okay.
me becoming a musician. They said that get a real job, and
Yeah.
it's impossible to earn money on music, and please do something else. But everything changes. So when I finally succeeded and I could live
Mhm.
out of music, the language became different, and all of a sudden they were all supportive. But I think that that is a common thing for parents, that
Yeah.
I'm a parent myself, and
Mhm.
and you're always worried about your kids, and you want them to have a better life than you had yourself. So I don't blame my parents for that. I just think that that is a natural thing, and it's also a natural thing for a kid to break loose and
Mhm.
want to go your own way, so to say. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like that attitude yourself, that if your children would like to do singing or whatever, go to arts and crafts, would you support them, or would you be?
I would support
Yeah,
my kids to do whatever they like.
that's cool. Yeah.
And there's actually a couple of songs on the new album that is actually me singing to my kids,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
telling them, don't listen to anyone else, don't get steered by anyone else's thoughts and beliefs, do it your way, and make your own paths and decisions, and make your own wrongdoings. Learn from your own mistakes and not everyone else's. So yeah, I think that is extremely important.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good lesson to have, and it's good that you carry that on and to your kids. That's always very, very good. Now, do you remember your worst gig that you had as a singer? Is it like from the beginning, or did you have something along the line?
The worst, for some reason, you always tend to forget the worst stuff,
Oh,
right?
wow, okay. People often tend to remember only those.
There's been things along the way where, you know, I remember one show in Germany once. I took out my in-ears, and one of the headphones dropped down below stage.
That's bad.
And you know, these guys costs a lot of money. I mean, like, it's 2,000 euros for a pair. And
the good ones.
And we had no monitoring on stage. You only had a monitoring in your ears, and there I was with one. And you know, stuff like that has happened many times. And you know, there has been situations where, back in the days, obviously, when you were younger and you played in you know, local small bands, and you know, your band members were too drunk. I remember one show that we did as a cover band when I was like 18 years old. There was a Halloween show. We all decided to wear masks, but I did not know the lyrics for the songs. And my masks were really cool, but I had a stand with all the lyrics on, but I could not see the lyrics through the eyes of this mask. So I had to constantly take the mask on and off to see the, you know, like, it was extremely unprofessional. But it's funny now, like this, you know, when you're looking back to it 25 years later.
Yeah, of course, things like that in retrospect, they're funny, but when they're happening, you're like, you know, oh shit, you know, this is not going horribly wrong. But you know, it's something we all have to pay our dues when it comes to stuff like that, most definitely. Now, do you have in mind any recent gig where you were watching somebody else perform and there was like a vocalist singer who made an impact on you in a way that gave you inspiration now as somebody who's already been doing this for a long time?
I was down on Sweden Rock Festival now a couple of weeks ago, and we were watching, was it Def Leppard? I think it was. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, one of the old bands anyway. And the singer is like 75 years old, and he sang like he was 24. And I was just like, that inspired me to you know, I wish that I will sing as I do now in 35 years. You know, that was amazing. And we also watched Mötley Crüe, and I also got an epiphany that I really hope that I will not sing like Vince Neil is doing now in 15 years.
yeah, that's actually a good funny thing, because you know that they're touring together now, so they have that complete package of two sides of each line, you know, singer you want to be like, and then a Mötley Crüe singer you necessarily don't aspire to be, in at least in performance wise, when you're older.
It must be funny to be him though, because he's making up his own new lyric on every show. Not like it's like he's writing new songs every day.
Yeah, I mean, and he doesn't have the excuse of having like a mask on to not see lyrics from the thing like you had back in the day.
No, exactly. Now, the only thing that I would say was positive, and I'm not a guy that is saying negative things about other bands, but when it comes to Mötley Crüe and their career, I love their albums, I love their music.
Same.
But it's time, if you after so many years can't play your own songs that are not really hard to play, you should probably stop and let someone else take your place in the business. That's what I think. But John 5, on the other hand, he did a fantastic job. He kept it all together.
Yeah, he's I was almost saying young blood. Of course, he isn't like the youngest guy out there, but he's probably youngest in the band, I think. I'm not sure. So it's actually nice to have somebody new there doing.
But on the
thing.
other hand, the guys in the band, I'm not saying anything bad about them.
Of course not.
They probably laugh all the way to the bank and have a lot of fun. So, you know, I'm not going to piss on their parade in any way. It was just that I thought that it was a big difference between Def Leppard and Mötley Crüe. It was, you know, different side of the scale, so to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, both are giving a great show. One band just happens to be maybe some musicians who took care of themselves physically and
to their defense, there was probably someone in the audience that had the exact different opinion as I had.
Yeah.
So that thought that Mötley Crüe was the greatest and Def Leppard was
worst,
not as good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. There's always, I mean, there are people in the audience, you know, even though we might say, and media might say anything about Mötley Crüe, they're still filling the arena. So, you know, good for them. Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm not. So who am I to complain?
Later.
Maybe it's me that is doing everything wrong.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anyone's doing anything wrong. It's just, you know, it's always difficult. Now, when you look at that, would you actually have the sort of, would you say, balls to stop if you kind of knew that, okay, I'm not doing my best right now, but there was still like a huge crowd wanting to see you? Would you stop knowing that, okay, it's maybe my time to stop, or would you keep going on because there's, you know, all these people coming out to see you?
That is such a hard you're
kind of putting yourself
question, but here's
shoes.
The thing. I'm such a perfectionist, and I feel bad if I had a really bad show and if I did not sing in pitch, or if I you know, were doing a poor performance. So I would hope that my older self would tell myself to, you know, it's time to step down, or write some other music that you can sing. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
And that was exactly what I said about Mötley Crüe. You know, like, who am I to tell them to go, you know, go away? Because, like, maybe they are having the time of their lives, and they should be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And that was kind of what inspired me to ask that, kind of putting yourself into the shoes, because we were, of course, thinking about this, but would we necessarily have any better mentality on that? You know, would we stop? That's always a good thing to think about. That would we do anything?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you look back to your career, what would you say have been the biggest and maybe the best lesson that you learned the hard way?
I would say that I already knew this before, because my mentors told me this. So I have always made sure to have that as a motto. But the way you treat people on the way up, the same way they will treat you on your way down. And that has been extremely beneficial from me, because, like, I left a pretty big band, but I got all the help and support from everyone that I had around me on my way up to be able to create something new. And I am a big supporter of the whole pay it forward kind of motto in life. If someone helps me, I make sure that I could try to take that thing that I learned from that person or got help from someone else and give that to someone that needs it, you know, in the business, or just a friend or whatever. I think that is a really important thing, because no one will come anywhere unless someone else is helping you to reach your goals.
Oh, yeah,
and also you should do whatever it takes to reach your goals, as long as you're not hurting someone else on the way there.
Yeah, that's well said. And I like what you told. That's definitely true. I heard somebody once put it the way, the toes you step on the way up are connected to the asses you have to kiss when you're coming down. I think that was Undertaker, the wrestler, I think, said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that mentality is definitely true. Now, outside of that thing, you know, now the viewers heard that, what would be the lesson that you sorry, what would be something that you say to somebody who's starting as a metal vocalist, and want to go to do this as a profession?
Never give up. Remember that it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, but nothing is impossible. And never give in. You're gonna get for every step you take forward is going to be 9 steps backwards, but there's going to come a time where as long as you like continue to push, you're going to break through the crowd, and at one point all of a sudden you're just realizing that, oh shit, I made it. It's but never give up is the follow your dreams and just continue straight on.
Yes. What was for you the moment that you thought, maybe not necessarily that you made it, but where you thought that this is paying off, this hard work is finally paying off?
It was probably after we had 6 months after we had released the first Amaranthe album, and we were playing Loud Park in Japan in front of like 18,000
wow,
people,
yeah.
and everyone were singing along to the songs, and we were just like, holy crap, okay, this is real. And there is a continuation in this. Maybe we don't have to go back and work at the bar that we used to work before.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that's definitely eye-opening moment to see that you're filling out such a huge place in Japan.
Absolutely. Now I am gonna have to let you go because I have to
yes, definitely
continue on.
Yes, this was the last question, so that's very convenient. Thank you, sir, for
fantastic.
your time, and I really appreciate it. I hope you all the best and hope to see you in Finland soon.
Me too, and I hope to see you in Finland this year or in the beginning of next year. It was really nice talking to you. It was really nice talking to you as well. And good luck in the new apartment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Tack så mycket. Hej då.
Celine, what is a goodbye in Finnish? She forgot it. She is using Duolingo and learning Finnish because no, you're starting. No, her grandmother is from Finland, so she wants to learn Finnish now. So I thought she knew it, but apparently not. Yeah. Awesome. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.